Hi, my name is Richmond Wong. I'm a PhD candidate at the UC Berkeley School of Information. Today I'm presenting Bringing Design to the Privacy Table, Broadening Design and Privacy by Design, co-authored with Deirdre Mulligan. We conduct a curated literature review to make the conceptual argument that there is a broader range of design practices used in human-computer interaction research, which have been underutilized in privacy by design efforts. In broadening privacy by design's notion of what design can do can help us more fully address privacy, particularly in situations where we don't yet know what concepts or definitions of privacy are at stake. I'm going to focus on these conceptual arguments today. Let me start with some background and motivation. I'm both a privacy researcher, studying how to better develop technologies that respect privacy, and I'm a design researcher, who designs things to learn about the world. I was excited several years ago to hear about a growing movement called privacy by design, the idea that privacy protections should be embedded into products and organizational practice during the design of products, rather than trying to address privacy retroactively. Privacy by design has been put forward in regulatory guidance from the US and other countries, and more recently by the EU's General Data Protection Regulation. Yet these don't provide a lot of guidance about what privacy by design means in practice. In interactions with the interdisciplinary privacy by design community of lawyers, academics, practitioners, and technical researchers, I found that there is a lot of recognition of the complexity of privacy, that it's an essentially contested concept, and that there are many conceptualizations of privacy. For instance, privacy from companies is different than privacy from governments. There are different types of privacy harms, and so forth. But the discussion of design seems much less complex. I had assumed privacy by design would mean applying HCI's rich breadth of design approaches toward privacy initiatives, from user-centered design to value-sensitive design, speculative design, and so forth. In these privacy by design conversations, however, design seemed to be used narrowly, as either a way to implement the law via compliance engineering or to solve specific privacy problems. Design was framed often as a deductive way to solve a problem, using approaches such as encryption methods or building a system to comply with the fair information practices. Now, these are all important privacy initiatives, but I kept finding myself asking, where's the rest of design? Not just the deductive problem-solving aspects, but also its inductive, exploratory, and forward-looking aspects. So there's a gap here between the way privacy by design views design and the way the HCI community views design. Since HCI researchers and practitioners are in a position to help support or implement privacy by design initiatives, it's important to try to broaden the notion of design in privacy by design to more fully bridge this gap. So this paper aims to fulfill two goals. One, design in HCI is more than just solving problems. We as HCI privacy researchers can more broadly engage the breadth of design approaches in HCI writ large, and there are opportunities to build connections among the HCI privacy research community and HCI design research community to use design in multiple ways. 2. Privacy by design efforts risk missing out on the full benefits that design can offer if it sticks with this narrower solution and compliance orientation to design. From HCI, we can help build bridges with the interdisciplinary privacy by design community and engage them in understanding a broader view of design. So how might we characterize the breadth of ways that HCI uses design in relation to privacy? In the paper, we conduct a curated review of HCI research to explore the breadth and richness of how design practices are used in relation to privacy. We searched for HCI papers that use both the terms privacy and design, curating a corpus of 64 papers. Reading through each paper, we openly coded each one by asking a set of questions including, why is design used, who is design done by, and for whom is design done? Using affinity diagramming on the open codes, we came up with a set of categories or dimensions, which we used to then recode the corpus. And today I'm going to focus on the dimensions that emerged when we looked at the why design question, which we call the purposes of design. So we describe 4 purposes of design. In practice, these categories are not mutually exclusive and are not the only way to look at the space, but looking at them separately does help give some analytical clarity. They are to solve a privacy problem, to inform or support privacy, to explore people and situations, and to critique, speculate, and present critical alternatives. Note that we use these to talk about how design has been used in privacy research specifically and not about all design writ large. Next, I'm going to walk briefly through each of these design purposes. And for the privacy researchers who are listening, as I go through these, it might be interesting as an exercise for us to reflect on which of these design purposes best fits the type of work and research that we do. So first, design can be seen as a way to solve a privacy problem, which occurred most often in the papers that we looked at. And I think colloquially, this is often how we think about design, as a way to solve problems. This is often how design is discussed in privacy by design discussions. Well, when viewing design in this way, privacy is presented as a problem that has already been well defined at the beginning of the design process, and a solution is designed to address that definition of the problem. A lot of responsibility for protecting privacy here is placed in the technical system. For instance, if a problem of privacy is defined as the harms that result from data processing and aggregation, we might design a system that limits data retention. If a problem of privacy is defined as not being identified, then we might design a system to be anonymous. Second, design is seen as a way to inform or support actors who must make privacy-relevant choices, rather than solving a privacy problem outright. This was also common in our set of papers. Design to inform or support privacy views problems posed by privacy as an information or tools problem. If users receive information in better ways or have better tools, then they can make more informed choices about how to act in privacy-preserving ways. And a lot of research has been done on how to design usable privacy policies or privacy notices, but it's still up to the user to read the notice and make a privacy-relevant decision. Other types of work in this vein includes designing privacy icons, controls, dashboards, visualizations, as well as educational materials and activities. In these approaches, a lot of responsibility for protecting privacy is placed in the choices that people make, informed by some design artifact. This orientation towards privacy fits well with U.S. regulations around privacy that make individuals manage and control their own data, though this orientation does have its limits. Third is using design to explore people and situations. Design is used as a mode of inquiry to better understand what privacy or the experience of privacy means to certain people in particular situations. Design here is not necessarily about solving an immediate problem. Techniques like design probes or collaborative design activities are some approaches here. For example, a project I did in 2017 involved presenting booklets with conceptual designs of potentially invasive products to technology practitioners in training. We weren't looking to gather feedback in order to develop these conceptual ideas into usable products. Instead, the goal was to use these conceptual design ideas as provocations to better understand the participants' worldviews. How are they conceptualizing privacy when they see these designs? How do their reactions help us understand where they place responsibility for addressing privacy? Here, privacy is understood as a situated experience, which emerges from practices from particular groups in specific contexts or situations. Fourth is design to critique, speculate, or present critical alternatives. Design here is not about exploring the world as it is, but focuses on how the world could be. Often this consists of creating conceptual designs that provoke to create a space to surface and discuss social values. These help us discuss worlds we might strive to achieve or ones we want to avoid. Privacy in this case is situated in different possible socio-technical configurations of the world, thinking about privacy's social, legal, and technical aspects together. For example, in a previous project, we created advertisements for fictional sensing products, like a bodily implant for workplace employees. This helped raise questions beyond what data this device might collect, but also helped us ask questions about how is privacy implicated in the workplace or through employment law? Can consent really occur with this power dynamic? It also helped us ask normative questions, such as who gets to have privacy and who doesn't? Who or what should be responsible for protecting privacy? Might we look to technical design, to regulations, or to market mechanisms, or to individual choice to protect privacy? So in summary, these are 4 purposes of design that we identified in this paper, using design to solve, to inform and support, to explore, and to critique and speculate. And again, in practice, these are not discrete categories. Lots of design approaches, like user-centered design or participatory design, use design for multiple of these purposes. But this variety of purposes for design and how it relates to privacy is also a reminder that design itself is not a neutral process, but itself political and values-laden. Each design purpose suggests a different starting place for how we orient ourselves towards conceptualizing and operationalizing privacy, such as thinking about privacy as a technical property, or privacy as a user-made choice, or thinking about privacy as a situated experience, or thinking about privacy as socio-technically situated. And now I've been talking about these four design purposes equally, but they weren't equal in our corpus. When we allow each paper to be coded for multiple categories, a little over half the papers that we looked at use design to solve a privacy problem or to inform and support. Less than a quarter use design to explore, and even fewer use design to critique and speculate. We don't claim that the exact counts are representative of all privacy literature, but there is a qualitative difference here, where most of the work we reviewed uses design to solve privacy problems or to inform and support privacy. And we're arguing for a big tent approach in privacy by design. Using design in all of these ways helps us address a broader set of conceptions of privacy. This suggests that there's an opportunity for us to build bridges between the HCI privacy research community, which has rich domain expertise, and the HCI design research community, which has rich design methods expertise, particularly using design in ways to explore and to critique and speculate. And so that's the first argument, that we have the opportunity to build new bridges between the HCI privacy research community and HCI design research community to more fully make use of design's broader set of purposes. Argument 2 is that privacy by design has largely, though with some exceptions, thought about design as a problem-solving process. Privacy by design research and practice could expand on that thinking of design to make more use of a fuller breadth of uses of design that are reflected in HCI. So what might some of these collaborations look like if we make use of more of design's breadth? For example, if we as privacy researchers develop a set of usable privacy tools to inform and support most people's privacy decision-making, that might be complemented with design to explore so that we can better understand the often marginalized populations for whom those tools don't always work. For example, Fried et al.'s work shows that social media privacy tools can actually be used against victims of intimate partner violence, violating their privacy and safety. Or an emerging problem that we face is thinking about privacy in physically instrumented spaces. How does consent work? What conceptions of privacy and privacy risk are at play? We can complement design to solve and design to support efforts with design to critique and speculate, to craft future scenarios that try to understand what concepts of privacy might be at play and how privacy can surface differently when technical, social, or legal aspects of the world change. From a design research perspective, I think there's a growing interest in the design research community to create provocative artifacts that try to surface discussions about privacy, particularly in relation to new and emerging technologies. Critically reflecting on my own design research work, I think it can be tempting to just speak to other designers and say, surveillance is creepy, and not dig deeper into the issues. But by collaborating with privacy researchers, we can bring more domain expertise and theoretical depth to these design explorations and speculations, and engage a broader set of privacy stakeholders. Industry privacy practitioners working on privacy by design initiatives might consider incorporating more UX researchers and designers from their organizations as privacy allies and design experts. Approaches that use design to critique and speculate may also align well with privacy practitioners' stated desire to find contextual and anticipatory privacy tools to help, quote, think around corners, as reported by Bamberger and Mulligan. Privacy by design regulators could incorporate more designers, in addition to engineers and computer scientists, in regulatory discussions about privacy by design, so that this richness of design practice isn't lost when the words by design are written in the law. Moreover, there's an opportunity here for us as a community to bring HCI's rich notions of what design can mean to privacy by design, so that beyond being a problem-solving process, it is also seen as a process that also makes use of the multifaceted, inductive, and exploratory uses of design that this community engages in. So thank you to my co-author Deirdre Mulligan and to many folks for helpful comments and feedback.